Synonymous with madness, sadism, and infamy, this Roman emperor's very name brought fear into the heart of a nation. This is none other than the infamous Caligula. Come with us today to find out how this beloved son of a hero turned into a cruel-hearted emperor. Caligula was born on August 31st, 12th AD as the son of Germanicus Julius Caesar, who should not be confused with the late Roman Republic period dictator Gaius Julius Caesar. Caligula's father was an admired general at the time of his birth, and Rome was under the rule of his father's uncle Tiberius, the Roman emperor with an interesting story himself. During Germanicus's military campaigns, his wife Agrippina and their 6 children traveled with him. By the time Caligula was born, his father was fighting to consolidate Roman control in Germania, modern-day Germany, and the Netherlands. Caligula was deeply involved in the daily life of his father during his campaigns. The young boy even took up wearing full armor and boots like the rest of his father's soldiers. He became the soldiers' unofficial mascot. The mouthful of his birth name, which was Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus, was put down, and they lovingly gave him the name of Caligula from the Latin word meaning little boot. Germanicus was very popular in Rome due to him winning several battles in Germania and winning more territory for Rome, but this popularity would very soon lead to his death. Many believe that Emperor Tiberius, fearful of Germanicus taking the throne from him, ordered the governor of Syria, Gnaeus Calpurnius Piso, known as a close ally of Tiberius, to poison him when his nephew was resting in his territory after a major victory. There are even speculations that on his deathbed, Germanicus said that it was Piso that killed him. The masses went into an uproar due to the death of their beloved general. Another important player asking for justice was Germanicus's widow Agrippina, who had considerable sway not only because of her husband, but also due to the fact that she was the granddaughter of the founder of the Roman Empire, Augustus. To appease everyone, Tiberius had Piso arrested and put on trial. However, before the day of his judgment could come, he took his own life. It was suspected that this was also a behind-the-scenes plot of Tiberius so that Piso wouldn't have time to give evidence of his role in the death of his nephew. In 26 AD, after the death of his son Drusus, Tiberius left Rome and retreated to the island of Capri, leaving Rome mostly in the hands of his trusted official, Lucius Aelius Sejanus. Sejanus was in charge of the protection unit of the emperor, the Praetorian Guard. During the period when Tiberius was gone, Sejanus went wild. He built up the power of the Praetorian Guard and used various methods to get rid of his political rivals who opposed him. Agrippina and her family were a particular enemy of his, and he feared her wresting power away from him. Sejanus used the fact that Agrippina was vocal about her husband's death to level false accusations about her and her sons. He accused them of treason. Sowing discord between the family and Tiberius, he was able to make the emperor exile Agrippina to the island of Pandateria. Her 2 eldest sons, Nero and Drusus, also had hard fates. Nero was exiled to the island of Pontia, and Drusus was held in a Roman prison. The harsh treatment and hopelessness of their circumstances made it so that they soon died. Her daughters had a better, if not more mild fate. Agrippina the younger and Julia Livilla were exiled to the island of Pontia, and Julia Drusilla was left alone. Probably due to her young age, she wasn't targeted by Sejanus. During this major purge of his family, many wonder how Caligula managed to survive. This lucky turn of events for Caligula was due to him being taken in by his great-grandmother, Livia Drusilla, the 3rd wife of the founding Emperor Augustus, soon after his father's death. He also had the protection and support of his grandmother and Germanicus's mother, Antonia Minor, the daughter of Mark Antony and niece of Augustus. Sejanus was able to get rid of Agrippina and her eldest sons, but before he could make a move on Caligula, Tiberius started to grow suspicious of his rising power, and he was also receiving information from leaders in the Senate and a particularly trusted member of the Praetorian Guard, Sutorius Marco. Further letters from his sister-in-law Antonia Minor made him investigate Sejanus, and he was overwhelmed with the evidence of his treason. Tiberius got rid of Sejanus swiftly. He was arrested and executed with the help of Sutorius Marco. During the next few years, Tiberius had the rest of Sejanus's family and supporters killed. Caligula was also brought to Capri Island to stay with his uncle Tiberius. Even though he had been set free from Sejanus's dangerous reign, he still had to walk on thin ice and keep a low profile under the eye of the increasingly mad Tiberius. The entirety of Rome was under a cloud of fear during the final 6 years of Tiberius's rule. During the last few days of his life, either to win the love of the people or maybe as a last diabolical plot, Tiberius named Caligula as his heir and passed away in 37 AD. Tiberius naming Caligula as one of his successors was surprising, because not only was he suspected by the public to be his father's murderer, but he also had a hand in the exile and imprisonment of his mother and brothers. Tiberius could have picked him as a last act to win the love of the masses by letting the last living son of their hero Germanicus take the throne. On the other hand, he could have wanted to punish Caligula by giving him a position of high stress that he wasn't ready for, and a power that had driven many into madness. Caligula became emperor of Rome on March 18, 37 AD at the age of 24. He was expected to share this role with the grandson of Tiberius, the 15-year-old Tiberius Gemellus. This was a common practice of Rome of having co-rulers, and since Tiberius didn't specify in his final rule which one would be the ruler, both jointly had the role. The common people were happy about the son of a war hero taking the throne and the ending of the rule of the hated Emperor Tiberius. Caligula didn't let the people down during the first few months of his rule. He first abolished unpopular tax laws made by Tiberius. He gave priority to construction projects that benefited the general populace, such as new temples, aqueducts, and improvements to infrastructure. Caligula also had a youthful charisma that captured the heart of the people. In contrast to the grim and stern Tiberius, the people felt as if they'd been given a breath of fresh air. Unfortunately, all of this took a sharp downhill turn in the autumn of 37 AD, when, a couple of months into his rule, Caligula fell ill with a life-threatening illness. The young emperor eventually managed to overcome the illness, but his personality had changed completely. His actions started to become increasingly bizarre and cruel. He developed deep paranoia and suspicion of all those around him, leading to mass exile and execution of enemies and allies alike. During this period, he also started to see Tiberius Gemellus as a threat. He soon accused him of plotting against him, and later on, had him kill himself. With this move, Caligula became the sole ruler of Rome. Caligula went on to damage his relationship with senators and nobles by humiliating and punishing them in private and public spectacles. He spent extravagantly on personal endeavors, public games, and unrealistic construction projects, quickly draining the treasury. By this act, he reversed the good he did in the beginning with the common people because he had to implement heavy taxes to keep up with the cost. It was also said that he had unethical relationships with his sisters and took pleasure in torturing others. His behavior got progressively worse, and he even started to see himself as a god. He demanded that he be treated as a god and be addressed by the title of Dominus et Deus, which is Latin for Lord and God. He even had a controversy with the Jews when he asked them to build a statue in his image to worship and put in their temple. All of these outrageous actions caused widespread dissatisfaction, fear, and unrest. The ones with the power and motive to do something about this situation were none other than the Roman Senate. This group of powerful men was slowly losing power due to the distrustful nature of the mad emperor, along with the recurring humiliation and abuse he regularly dealt out. They decided it was time to make a move. The perfect group of people to get rid of the emperor were the people who were in charge of protecting him. This is when the Praetorian Guard came into play. One particular guard who was constantly abused and humiliated by Caligula was Cassius Chaerea. He decided to join hands with the Senate to get rid of Caligula during the Palatine Games, a series of public games that were held in the imperial palace on Palatine Hill. They confronted him in a secluded corridor as he was going to his next stop at the festivals. Cassius Chaerea was the first to strike. and the rest of the guards delivered multiple fatal blows. Just like this, the 28-year-old Caligula died, leaving the masses with mixed reactions, and the noble houses sighing in relief. Caligula's rule lasted only a short 4 years, from 37 AD, the year he was crowned, to the day of his assassination in January 24th, 41 AD. Many believed that if it wasn't for his illness, which many historians suspect to be meningitis inflammation of the brain, Caligula could have become a decent ruler. The reaction was mixed with the common people at the time, because they still had hope that the emperor would come to his senses one day. The people around him, such as the Senate and the Praetorian Guard, were fearful of the young emperor terrorizing them for many more years to come, so they decided it was time to put an end to his madness. What he could have become will never be known. All we are left with is his legacy as a mad emperor of the Roman Empire. Thank you for staying with us as we explored the story of Caligula, one of Rome's most controversial emperors. Please don't forget to comment about what piece of history I should put my lens on next. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.